Hello, Craftin buddies. It's Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, coming to you on Wednesday, September 3rd at 11:47 p.m. I am waiting for my iPad and my computer to catch up here so that I can see if anybody joins me live. Hopefully you can hear me. I have my microphone in today just because I'm going to have to go get some paper, and I don't want to, there we go. I don't want to have to be talking from far away. So let me see. Yep, sounds like we've got volume. All right, so welcome. This is the first day of the new catalog. Hello, Fifi, your internet is back. Yay. I just came on, so I have not seen Mama Juju yet. Hello, Bonnie. Welcome. I don't know that you've joined me before. Your name looks new. So I'm glad you're here. Last night we did a fun fold. Tonight we're going to do a one sheet wonder using some of the products out of the new mini catalog. So I can show you the inside of the catalog now, which is always exciting. And whoops, I need to back up here on my YouTube page. There we go. I'm just trying to get all of my devices to catch up with me. So you are from Branson, Missouri. Well, I'm glad you finally decided to speak up, because I can see when there's people there, but I can't necessarily see who they are until they start chatting with me. So I'm glad you've been watching, and I'm glad you're going to join in. So that's kind of the point of this, you know, we kind of collaborate and make pretty things, hopefully. Yeah, I was supposed to go to Branson a few years ago, and we had started making the plans and it just didn't work out. So someday I'll be back. All right, so we are going to play with this new suite. Hopefully there's not too much of a glare on here. I'll add my other light too. You're from Chicago, huh? We have our nephew and niece are in Chicago. My son is in Chicago. So I get down that way every once in a while. It's about an hour and a half drive for us. Hour 15, hour 30 minutes. Cool. Very cool. So we've got a little Midwest connection. Nice. So we're going to play with this Autumn Toile, if that's how you say it. Elizabeth from Stampin' Up! Kind of showed us some of this a while back. I am in Wisconsin, Bonnie. I am in southeast Wisconsin. So between Milwaukee and Kenosha. I actually worked in North Chicago for a while at the James A. Lovell Federal Healthcare Center. I worked there for 2 years. So yeah, that was a long drive. It was an hour commute for me each way. But it was great working with our veterans, actually. So Elizabeth from Stampin' Up! Had covered this with demonstrators not too awful long ago, and she was saying fall for toile. So I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. So you're from the South Side suburbs. I have a sister-in-law who's in the Bradley, Bourbonnais area. My nephew's down in that area with his family. How close is that to you? They used to live in Peoria, but they moved up to the Bradley area, Bourbonnais, a while back. Toile. Okay, Autumn Toile. So these are the products. I'm just going to move this aside for just a second. And fall is my favorite season of the year. Okay. I mentioned it last night, but um, Kankakee, yeah, that's where they were. Um, some of them were, they've spread out a little bit. So yeah, Kankakee. But now they're in Bradley, or their mailing address is Bradley. I don't know how the post office is run down there. I don't pay attention to the municipality lines when I go visit. But anyway, these are the streaked dots. And I don't know if you can see those, but they are gorgeous. They remind me of my chai tea. Orland Park, that's where you were for 20 years, huh? Very cool. Very cool. So not too far away from us. All right. Oh, and I don't know if I'll need all of these markers. I'll Stampin' Blends. I'll move those out of the way for now. I don't even know if you could see those. Yeah, you could. So these are the streaked dots, and they're like baubles. They're not flat. I have kind of gotten used to some of the flatter embellishments, but these are so pretty. When I have raised embellishments like this, and I worry about them poking through the envelopes when I mail them. So what I do is I will take a layer of cardstock, um, coordinating with whatever I'm working on, and I will run it through an embossing folder, either a folder that I've used with the card that I've made or just something that kind of coordinates with it. And then I will put that on top of my card and mail it, because then if those embellishments get pressed through the paper, that top piece of cardstock that's embossed kind of helps cushion that so they don't poke through the envelope. And I also put my cards in so that the flap covers up part of it, so you've got that extra cushion. So I am a big football fan, and I actually volunteered for a semi-pro football team in our area for about a dozen years. And one year I was actually, I took over the GM duties when our GM stepped down. So I kind of know the inner workings of how football teams work, and I'm sure professional teams are different because they're just bigger. Um, but it was a fun experience. I'm glad I had those years there. I had been a very strong Packer fan, and I'm still a Packer fan. Don't get me wrong; I'm loyal to my state and to my country, but I don't watch professional football much anymore, because when the politics go into the entertainment, I'm out. Okay. So I like watching football, and I have heard that it's gotten better where, they're not using their football platform to further their political platform, but it just left a bad taste in my mouth. So I haven't really missed it. And it gives me a lot more time to do my crafting. So are you a Bears fan? My Illinois family are Packer fans. So just so you know, it's okay. And when I worked at the VA, it was really kind of funny because everybody who was in the office were Bear fans. And here I am, the lone girl from Wisconsin as a Packer fan. And so my office space was all green and gold. Seahawks. Okay. So our coach went to the Seahawks. Um, so there's another thing we have in common, huh? Oh, Fifi, that's you, Fifi. So you're Bonnie, you're a Charger fan. Go Chargers, whatever, whatever trips your trigger, right? But I do like, um, if there's college football on, I will watch college football, but I do really like football. And I understand how the game is played. And I might not know all what the penalties are called, but I do know of something that shouldn't happen. I don't know what they might call it, but anyway, um, my husband is a big hockey fan too. So we have gone to hockey games, and I'd rather watch hockey in person than on TV. And actually, even football, watching it in person is much better. All right, so you're in Chief territory and you're a Cubs fan. Okay, and you live in Cardinal territory. Hmm. Like Arizona Cardinals? Because I have family in Arizona. My husband is a Blackhawks fan. So, hello, Mama Juju. Fifi was going to stop by to see your live tonight, but she was having internet issues. You're both here now, so you can chit chat amongst yourselves and and get caught up. Salo, welcome. And we have, yeah, Bonnie is new to our chatting group, so it should be a fun night. So I have to get down to business because we've got some stuff to do. So the what were they called? Streak dots. We're also going to use this irregular weave. I think that's what it's called. Irregular weave trim. And it's polyester, so it's not like a soft lace. It's more of a stiff um, ribbon sort of thing, but it can be colored as well with your alcohol blends. So keep that in mind. So even though it seems like it's an odd color, you can make it pretty much any color you want. All right. We're going to use Amber Autumn, and there are dies with this. So if you have your mini catalog, you will want to turn to page 39-ish. I'm on page 40 and 41 right now, and then I'll be flipping over to 43. But this is basically a framing piece, and then this will cut out the pumpkins, and this will cut out the oak leaves and the acorns, and then there's just some looks like a stem piece. Maybe that's to some corn or something, because there's corn on here. I'll have to cut that out and see what it looks like, and maybe look at the samples. You interviewed this evening on Hazel Annika Designs, Heart to Heart. I don't know who Hazel Annika Designs is. I don't have a whole lot of time to watch other videos. But anyway, I love the acorns and the oak leaves there. I think that's really pretty. And then we're also going to be using the autumn trees. And this is a cling set, and I have not put my stickers on. I am a little behind the 8 ball here, but that's all right. So this has 2 sheets of dies actually. And one is for the big tree, the deers and the ground. And then these are like for some leaves for here, for the buck, and some of the other items there. So we will get to those eventually. We're not going to use them all tonight. I'm going to show you the one sheet wonder, and we are going to put together 1 or 2 cards. We'll see, because there's 6 cards that we can work with. And then physical therapy, and then Bavaria. I don't know what Bavaria is. I lead a very sheltered life, I guess. But we're also going to use the stitch label dies, stitched shapes dies. So that was on my recipes. So those of you who are demonstrators, you are probably aware that there are recipes for you available that kind of tell you the items that you need to make certain projects. All right. It won't tell you measurements, but at least we know I need stitch dies. I need a certain color of cardstock. So let's go ahead and look at this designer series paper real quick. And this is called Autumn 12, 12 by 12. Sometimes they give us a different title for it. So this is side A and side B. I guess I need, oh, that's right. We get 3 sheets of this one. So there's 3 sheets, I think, of just 4 designs. And that actually, if you're mass producing cards or making several, it's nice to have the extra sheets. Sorry, every time I pause, I'm trying to look at some of your comments because I do try to keep up, but I'll let you ladies chat and I'll just get to working here. So this has got some pheasants on here and some rocks and some trees. And then the B side has these like foliage pieces. And there is also an embossing folder that has that design on it. I didn't order that initially. I have it ordered now, but I didn't initially. And then this, let's see here. I wonder if any of these dies cut out these pieces. They should, but what they cut out, it might be on a different piece. Oh, that looks like it could cut out the pumpkin there. That would work there. And then that might be it for that page because this looks like, see, that doesn't work there. So that's probably from a different sheet. So it looks like this would work there. And then the B side for this is just a nice little checker in a neutral. And then we've got the fox. Interesting. I would think, well, they obviously, these dies work for these items here, the buck, the shrub here, and this will give you the stem branches there. And then the back of the fox is these stripes. So those are all really fun designs. I love this paper too, Fifi. It's gorgeous. And the catalog actually shows a good sampling of the papers here. They're a little bit bigger than normal. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see the backs of all of them. So that's nice too. And for this stamp set, you can see here, this one does a nice little border cut out there. And if we turn the page, oh, tacos. I'm in for tacos. Sala, I like the chatter too, quite honestly. It's fun. Even though I can't always keep up with the comments, it's nice that everybody's interacting. And I like it when, we're looking at stuff and then you guys throw in suggestions too. So let's do this pack of paper. This is the Earthen Tones Metallic. And I like to open, you might have noticed this one. I slice it all the way down so I can slide pages out from the left-hand side. And when I flip it over, I can see the title. I'm left-handed, so that works for me. So this one, when I flip it over, I can see the title here and I have it open here. So let's take a look at this. This comes with 3 sheets of one color. Okay. And it's, I'm guessing you can see the reflection of my chicken shirt. So this is just listed as being brown. Okay. So, all right, we'll put that away. I don't know that we'll use any of this today, but it's gorgeous. All right. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Now, the sample in the book, here's what we're going to do, our catalog. You're making me hungry, Fifi. So on page 42, there is a one sheet wonder, and that's right here. Stampin' Up! I don't think has, oh, Mexican pizza. I'm going to have a meal after I'm done here, I think. I'll go back to my EMT days when I used to go on calls in the middle of the night and then have to eat when I was done. Oh, yummy. All right, so we're going to do this. Now, I am going to follow suit with the paper that they're using here. And I'm just going to use this top one just so our samples look like the catalog. So I'm going to case the catalog. So copy and share everything or copy and slightly edit. Usually I like to slightly edit, but today we're just going to copy. And if my mic should happen to go out, I have turned off my volume, so just make sure you let me know. I mean, I still have a green light now, and I charged it before I started, so we should be good. All right, so we've got our 12 by 12. We're going to make 6 cards out of this 12 by 12. So we're going to cut it at 4 inches. And we're going to cut it at 4 inches again. So we've got 3 strips. Yeah, I like to slightly edit too. All right, so there's our 3 columns. So these 2 are going to be cut the same way. All right, but I'm going to kind of go in order of the catalog. So I'm going to cut this column first, then we're going to cut this column, then we're going to cut this one. All right. So with my first 4-inch strip that's from the left side, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and I'm going to do this at 1.5 inches. All right. So I want that 1.5 inches to come off of the top. All right. And then I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4. And that's going to leave another piece that's 5 1/4. Okay. So here's our little design. Now on the middle piece, again, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees. I want the top of it to be going to the left. So I'm going to cut this one at 3 3/4. All right. And that's going to come over here. And then I'm going to cut this one at 5 1/4. So you can tell that's like a card-based layer. And then this last piece is going to be 3 inches. All right. So that's what's left over. So that's the middle. So you can see this is our 12 by 12 sheet of paper. All right. And then this last one, I'm going to take it, I'm going to turn it counterclockwise again, and I'm going to cut it at 1.5 inches. Oh, yay. All right. And then we're going to go 5 1/4. And then this gives us 2 that are 5 1/4. All righty. So there we go. There is our card, our designer series paper rather, that we've cut to make 6 cards. All right. So I can put these measurements, I can make them available. I'll probably just say, you know, leave me a comment on my Facebook page and then I can send you the measurements. Or you can just kind of figure it out and adjust either by just replaying because I've announced what all of them are, or you can just come really close. So I am going to do this card here. All right. So I need to go get my base and probably some pecan pie. Let me look at my recipe and see what it says as far as colors. All right. Oh, you got a French stamp from the last chance list? Cool. All right, so we need some early espresso. I'll get a piece of that. And we need Mossy Meadow. And it says Very Vanilla Two-Tone Cardstock. I don't have the Very Vanilla Two-Tone Cardstock, so we're just going to use Very Vanilla. And we just need that for the sentiment and the pumpkins, it looks like. So I'm going to get just, I think, a half sheet here. I'll get those. That should be good enough. We'll see. I'm just digging through my papers. All right, so that ought to be good. And then we need Cajun Craze ink. And I'm going to grab a blending brush just because I know there's blending, but I don't know. We'll look at it closer when we do it. I need Mossy Meadow and Pecan Pie. So do you say pecan or do you say pecan? We need dimensional, stamp and seal, blending brushes, stylish shapes, and the autumn tree dyes. The dots. All right, I think I have everything. So here's our other supplies. I'm going to put all my inks over here. My blending brushes over here. Some of them they said we would need daubers as well. So we'll see. All right. So I guess I don't need a whole piece of Mossy Meadow. So I'm looking at this sample here. So we're going to do a die cut. We're going to do a stylish shapes label with this Very Vanilla. We're going to stamp that pumpkin on there. And we're going to color, we're going to do some ink blending on our sheet of Designer Series paper. So we're just going to take this one here because this will be for card number 1. And I'm going to scoop these up in order. Pecan. Pecan. That's what I say, pecan. All right, so let's start with this piece. And we're going to take the pecan pie and we are going to change this from this very vanilla background, and we're going to make it all kind of pecan pie because that's what the catalog shows us. Now, I think this would be quite pretty just like that, but I think with they've got the pumpkin just in the very vanilla. Pecan. Sala. All right, so I am just, when I ink up my brush, of course, I get rid of the heavy, I don't want to just have that blob of ink. And then I just go in off the ends. So you can see, hopefully, a subtle difference here that adding the pecan pie does to this paper. And I'll bring another piece in right next to this so you can kind of see the difference too. Yeah, I saw a meme about pecan, and all I remember is there was a can of peas. Do you say it this way or you say pecan? Like, yeah, it's not a pecan, it's a pecan. Ink blending is one of my favorite techniques. I probably say that about a lot of techniques because I think I like them all. All right, so I think that's pretty good. This middle part's going to be covered up, so I probably could have even skipped that, but and I could make it a little darker even around the edges. And make it more vintage looking. If you're picking them, it's pecans. Actually, my niece in Arizona has pecan trees in her backyard. And she just waits for them to fall, and then she sends her boys out to pick them up. At least she used to. They might be getting older now where they don't want to pick up the pecans. I don't know. They're good boys, though. So I'm just making this a little darker around the edges just because I think it looks good. And it doesn't even look like we're going to use any of the ribbon on this particular card. So I think over the next few nights, we'll be making each of the cards with this from the catalog, if that's all right. Something is clacking when I'm using the blending brush. Really? Do you think it's the camera autofocusing? I can't hear the camera. Oh, I bet it's my microphone on my necklace. Does it sound like that? Let me tuck my necklace in my shirt. Maybe that's better. Probably when I'm brushing, it's making my chest move, and it was making my necklace bump against the microphone. Sorry. That's what happens when you got some chest action going on. All right, so I like that. Now, let's close this up, and I'm just going to bring in. All right. So look at the difference. I really like this. And I forget sometimes to colorize my designer series paper, unless it's like the embossed paper that we had. Yeah, chest action, I know. Oh, yeah. So anyway, I got to try to keep it clean, but you guys get the idea. um, so I forget sometimes to do blending brushes on my designer series paper, but it's really a nice technique. And when we've got like the embossed paper that you can add the color to, and then you just rub off the ink from where it's embossed, you get that embossed resist look. All right, so we've got this. I am going to go ahead and cut my card base. So I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 all the way down. Salad necklace was your first guess. Awesome. All right, 5 1/2. Well, I'm glad that fixed it. I'm glad you said something. All right, and we'll save this because I can use that for another card. So let's go ahead and burnish this. And we're going to go ahead and glue our designer series paper on right away. And it doesn't really matter. Those lined up really good. So I'm going to go ahead and use the multi-purpose liquid glue. And it might look like I'm putting a lot on there, but I'm really not. It's just a very thin layer. So I can scooch this over a little bit if I don't like how it's not quite centered. There, that looks pretty good. Yes, the embossing really, I mean, it takes the starkness out of it, especially if it's a white background. This is more of the very vanilla background, but still, I think it almost looks like it's coffee spilled on there. And with those gems, that's going to look really cool. All right, so we're done with this piece for right now. And we are going to cut a piece of this down because we're going to do a die cut. So let me just trim this in half. I didn't score it just because we're doing die cutting on this. And we are going to use this piece, it looks like, if I can get it unstuck. So this is from the Autumn Trees set. Oh, it's not your first time being right, Sala. You're a mom. You've got to be right lots of times. All right, so let's get my bossy Bessie out here. And we need our platform number 1, our shim number 2, and a cutting plate number 3. our designer or our cardstock and our die. And then I'm just going to offset the next number 3 cutting plate. Was that green paper lemon lime twist? Not today. This is Mossy Meadow. Lemon lime twist is what I used last night, which is super, super bright. All right, so lemon lime twist is one of my favorite colors. This with Night of Navy makes an awesome card. But this is Mossy Meadow. So let's take a look at this and see how well that cut out. You don't pretend to be right all the time. You just have confidence. Your children need to know you are confident. All right, so this is pretty intricate. So depending on your plates, like if your plates are really curved, you might want to run it through a couple of times, okay? And there we go. There's just some of these little pieces that are really fine, so that kind of hung up my piece. And then there's actually some pieces here that have dots that can get poked out. Now, if you've got a brush that goes with your, take your pick tool, you can do that. Or you wouldn't even have to punch these all out. I am probably going to opt not to punch them all out just because we're putting the sentiment on here and we're doing a pumpkin on there. So I don't really think it's going to show that much, but you do you when you do your card. All right. So that is all we're using this die set for. So I'm going to get this out of the way. And you can see too where I marked that I have 1 card of 2 and altogether there's 9 dies. I try to do a head count before I put my things away. You're a good mom. All right. So, because we all our kids are our experiments, you know, there's no school to become a mom. You just have to learn on the fly. All right, so I'm going to put this away for right now. We'll need it out in a minute when we go to do the pumpkin. And I am going to put this away because we don't need this anymore either. All right, so now on this very vanilla, we are going to do, oh, I did do a couple of these. All right, so we're going to do our little pumpkin piece. And for those of you who really, really love the red rubber, it's going away. Sorry, but I'm not really sorry because then I'm not going to have to do these stickers anymore, which is not a big deal, but it's just time consuming. All right, so here's my method for putting these stickers on our clings. I take the whole sticker off the sheet. I flip back a couple of corners just so it's easier for me to lift those up, and I stick it to my block. However it seems to fit best, but this one seems like upright is going to be best. And I push it down on my block. Then I lift these off. I've taken the backing off of my item, my stamp, and then I line this up, trying not to get my head in the camera view, and I push it on. Yay, stickers, yes. And some people do trim the edges, and that helps you minimize any halo. I typically don't do that. If I get a halo, I just stamp again. Wipe off my stamp and stamp again. All right, so let's do our, oh, I don't want this. I want early espresso. Oh, I guess I didn't do early espresso. It wasn't on the list. Let me look again. Ink, Cajun Craze, Mossy Meadow, pecan pie. All right, we're doing a pecan pie. And normally I would say ink your stamp because then you don't get a squish, squish, squish. With the red rubber, I don't really care if the ink gets in those places because it's not going to stain, or if it does stain, I'm not going to see it anyway. All right, so let's just stamp this little puppy down. And I just hold it on with nice even pressure so that the ink can soak into the paper. All right. And my chamois. Yeah, you live and learn, and by the time you have grandkids, you're much better at it and you're much more relaxed. Our granddaughter loves coming over to stay with us. So she was here this weekend, but we did not make a video. We were busy doing stuff. I don't know what happened. All right, so there's that. And let's go ahead and put this away. Yeah, trimming is a good idea. I guess, too lazy to trim. Now I just have to get these stamps back how they were. All right. So whatever debris I can move out of the way. Then we need blessed to have you in my life. So that one I've already got on a block. Nice. All right, and we're going to go ahead and stamp that in Cajun Craze. Oh, I understand the value, but like I said, I'm too lazy. I don't have enough patience. Let's see how this looks. And in case I didn't give it enough room for the die, I'm going to do it again, just so it's more centered, because we're going to use those Stylish Shapes dies. I have seen quite a few people that trim their red rubber, especially if you're somebody who glues stuff and then stamps it afterwards. And then if you've got it all glued and then you get a halo, then you've frustration. All right, so I think we're done with that stamp set. I'm going to set that out of the way. And we're going to get our Stylish Shapes. And we want this banner. When I cut extras, I leave them in. This one got a little mangled, but I leave them in my case so that I can use them on future projects. All right, so I think we need this big one. So I'm glad I stamped it twice because I did it too close to the edge of the paper. So we're going to put that there. And I'm going to use a little washi tape. And try to get that straight. I just happen to have washi tape stuck by my workstation just because I reuse it until it doesn't stick anymore. Excuse me. I hope I didn't just cough into the mic. I did cover my mouth. All right. So those are the Stylish Shapes. There we go. And then we need this one because we need the little pumpkin. All right, so that's going to go here. How cute is that? Now, the sample in the catalog does not show any coloring on this, but I think it would be kind of fun to color it for another card. I don't think I'm going to color it tonight. And I'm just trying to line this up. This looks like it's going to be a close trim. There's not going to be a whole lot of border. And let's get Bossy Bessie out here one more time. Oh, color it. I was thinking I could use what do you think I should try? I probably should have stamped it twice just in case. I could try colored pencils, or I could just try like an aqua painter or a water painter, I think is what we call them now. I'm like old school aqua painter. A water painter. I could use blends. Okay, we can try blends. We'll see how it looks. All right. And I have my plates offset so that they're not all leading through the machine at the same time so that my rollers have a chance to adjust. You're a CPR stamper, so trimming stamps would definitely be the way to go for you. Did you mean to type CPR stamper? Because CPR to me is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. I teach CPR, so to me it might be something different. CPRs. I'm just trying to think what the acronym could stand for. Oh, well, you are supposed to press hard and fast when it's CPR, so I get it. All right. I'm going to save this just because that could be just trimmed down. That could be trimmed down to be something else. All right. So let's put this away. So there's kind of a lot of steps to this one, but it's not a difficult card. None of these really are difficult cards. And here we'll press this out of here. I'm going to leave my washi tape on that one, little avalanche here. I'm going to leave my washi tape on that one just in case the coloring doesn't work, in case I don't do a nice enough job. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way for now. And we'll keep that. And then let's see what we want to do here. I'm going to get, I didn't get my blends. We'll get Cajun Craze. We'll get some yellow. We'll get some, we'll get, what colors do you think? Yeah, CPR is the term. Press hard and fast. So we've got some Cajun Craze here. I think maybe some pumpkin pie is in order. We will do, oh, we don't have crushed curry because that would be a good, oh, darling duckling would probably be good. And then I think I've got Mossy Meadow out here already. Oh, I needed a light. We'll do crumb cake. And we'll get a gray granite. No, we'll get a smoky slate, I think. We'll bring over pecan pie for good measure, just in case. Let's do a little coloring and see how it looks. Lemon lime twist. That would be really bright, but I could get that if we're going to be blending it with some Mossy Meadow. That would probably be a nice combination. We'll see how it looks. Old olive would probably work too. Oh, I got quite an avalanche going on here. All right, so here's old olive. This is Mossy Meadow, old olive, Mossy Meadow. All right, and let's just start coloring it. If it doesn't work out, it would be easy to color over. Yeah, or just stamp and cut out a new one. Either way, it's just paper. All right, so let's just kind of, that's going to go there-ish. Now this piece is a little delicate. There's just some, because this is designed to kind of go on the tree, but I like how they're using it in a different way to make some foliage. All right, and then this is going to end up going here. If you're putting the Mossy Meadow die cut piece there, the lighter green might look good. Yeah, no kidding. I agree. So let's start with the lightest color. We'll go with the lemon lime twist. And this is on um, the very vanilla cardstock. Had a mental block there for a second. And we might actually want this to have some fall tones to it. So I'll add some other colors too, but we'll put some green hues in here a little bit and just see how that looks. We'll do a little darling duckling on our corn. And that's super easy. I'm using the bullet point this time just because these areas are pretty small. All right. And then let's maybe shade a little bit. I probably should have done the lighter first, or did I? No, this is a light. We'll just see what happens. All right. And then this is pumpkin pie, light pumpkin pie. So I'm going to just kind of go over our whole pumpkin. We'll do one at a time. Oh, there's a gourd here too I wasn't even looking at. And I'm not worried about being too particular about filling in every spot of this. Don't worry about the lemon lime twist. We're going to make it darker. All right, so there's a light pumpkin pie. I'm going to come in with the light Cajun craze and see how that looks. Because we can always go darker, but once we're committed to dark, you can't really, without the color lifter, it's going to be harder to lighten it up if we wanted it to. So I'm going to make it darker on the bottom because that's close to the ground. And that's going to kind of be our shadow. It's nice that there's some lines here to ground it to the ground. So you've got like that shadow of the pumpkin. I suppose you guys thought I was weird for coloring upside down, but sometimes when you're left-handed, you have to turn things around. And I'm just touching very, very lightly here because I don't want to go too overboard with the color. So basically with the dark ones, with the dark lines, I'm just putting it on the lines that Stampin' Up! Has already put on there as being accents. And now I'm going to take the light color again, and I'm going to kind of blend these out a little bit. Now remember, if we're blending colors, we blend best when it's wet. And if we're doing highlighting colors, we do best when it's dry, if that makes sense. So try not to give your paper lots of time to dry out if you want to blend. And here we can kind of go over the whole thing again. And by getting it even wetter with that alcohol, what we're able to do is you saturate the paper and then it kind of dilutes those colors and they just blend. Look at how gorgeous that is. All right, so I skipped a little bit here that you might not be able to see on my second coat. I skipped a little bit here and it kind of gives some highlights for the pumpkin. Let me get the color lifter just for kicks here. And if we wanted to make it a little brighter, like the sun is shining on it or something, we can just push some of that ink around and then it'll look like there's light shining on it. What do you think? And then all right, so for this little gourd, Not sure what we want to do, but I'm going to take this light crumb cake, or is this the smoky slate? Yeah, this is a smoky slate. I'm going to just add a little bit of color to this grounded section here. Now the smoky slate and the light crumb cake look both brownish gray to me, so that's why I use the smoky slate, because it seems to me that it's sometimes lighter than the crumb cake. Don't ask me why. All right. So this one, what color should we do that part of the gourd? And I'm going to do light crumb cake for the pumpkin handles or the stems. And then I'm going to go in with some pecan pie, I think. And I'm going to use a bullet. And I'm just going to add a little darkness on the one side. All right, what do we want to do with this gourd? A yellow for the gourd. So Darling Duckling, you think again? And I wonder if we did, we'll just add a little bit of orange-ish there and go over it with the Darling Duckling again. What do you think? Because I don't want it in your face. Now, we need to do these leaves. So there's a maple leaf in here, and I think I want to kind of make that, let's do that darker, like with the Cajun Craze. I think that's what I've got here. Yeah, dark Cajun Craze. I'm just going to add some little highlights here, kind of like where those lines are. It doesn't look much like a leaf right now. And let's go more with this light green and see what happens. I might have just ruined the leaf. You know, quite honestly, that's not even going to show because the sentiment's going to be over it. But at least you can see what you do and don't want to use if you just are coloring your leaves for something else. So Cajun Craze might be a little dark. All right, and then let's do the light crumb cake. That's dark crumb cake. Light crumb cake. Yeah, I could use a lifter for that. I think I might try that. And then we'll just add these light crumb cake corn husks here. I thought there was more over there, but there's not. So there's just those. And we've got our little wheat things here. I'm just barely touching those. So I think that looks pretty good, actually. So let's do the color lifter on that leaf and just see what we can do here to make it look nicer. It's going to be covered anyway, but that's looking a little more variegated now, like a leaf should look. All right, so let's do the lighter color on the leaves over here. Oh, I want green though. No, we'll do a little bit of orangish in here. So this is the light pumpkin pie. And then let's do a little bit of, we'll do light mossy meadow in case I don't really like it. And again, I'm just kind of doing some of the lines here that already exist. Hold it up to the camera. Okay. And for these little itty bitty leaves, I'm just kind of doing dots on here instead of coloring them, just a light tap. And then we can do a little bit there. All right. And then what did I use here? The lemon lime twist. Let's do a little old olive on here. And then I'll hold it up to the camera. Well, that was a little more green. Yeah, I think that works. There. All right, so what do you think? You need a bigger piece. How's that? Can you see that very well? That's up there. have to keep it about here for the light. But I think it looks pretty. I'm glad we colored it. What do you think? Is that held up enough? I wonder if I could zoom in. Oh, there we go. Let's zoom in on it. How's that look? Oh, that worked much better. I don't usually play with the zoom on here. Yeah. Fifi, was it your idea to color it? I think that was a good idea. So now the other thing is, we've got the bright border. Do we want a bright border, or should I just put a little bit of pecan pie, whatever's left on my brush, and kind of coffee stain it almost? I don't have a whole lot of ink on there. And that didn't really do a whole lot, but you can see it did some because there's an outline left on here. So let me go back. I think that's my regular size. There we go. There. All right. So good idea to color that. I think that worked well. So according to our sample in the catalog, the pumpkin piece goes under, the foliage goes on top, and then this comes on there. Okay. I'm thinking, do you think I need this a little more darkened? You'd color the husks olive. The only thing, like by us though, when the corn is harvested, yeah, I suppose they do still have some green when you get them in the store. Let's do a light old olive on that. It's just when they're dried out for like Indian corn, they're very brown by us. But that should work. There. We'll add a little green. Do I need a little bit more pecan pie on the outside, do you think, or no? Where did my little scrappy go here? And I don't want to take away from where we colored, but I just kind of wanted those edges not quite so bright. And then I think I need a little bit of color lifter to push a little bit of orange got over the edge. So again, I don't really think this is a color lifter, it's a color pusher. All right. So I think that's good now. Do you think? Did that work out all right, do you think? I think a little bit of that edging just took that starkness away. Now, the catalog does show, let me cover up my ink here so I don't have a mess. All right, so the catalog shows, if you've got your catalog on page 42, that bottom center one, it shows the pumpkin piece, then the foliage piece, then this piece. Whoops. So I'm thinking I want the pumpkin piece on top because colored like that, it looks too good to hide. What do you think? You need to ink blend the banner as well. Okay, let's give that a try. I think I'll need just a little bit more ink. Should I do that in pecan pie or should I do it with a little Cajun craze? Maybe just pumpkin pie. pecan pie. All right, so we'll leave the pumpkins on top because they are really stunning. I think colored was really good. Let me move this up a little bit. I'm hoping you can see that. Get rid of my bone folder, I guess, huh? All right, and I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to curl these just a little bit. You can also use a pencil to roll them. I wonder, did we miss, did Mama Juju fall asleep on us? All right, so there's those. All right, let's cover up this ink again. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on this. Now, if you have like a dauber or a sponge, you could just dab your ink on here using your silicone mat. I'm just going to careful with this. If you punch out all those little holes or if you use the brush, the dye brush, you don't want your glue oozing all over the place. So glue at your own risk. All right. Yeah, I think it would be sad to cover up all of that pumpkin work. All right, so we're just going to lay this on here. And some of these I didn't put a whole lot of glue on just because I kind of wanted them to have some lift. I'm going to put this on dimensionals. I think I'm just going to use 3 of them. So we cased, but we still slightly edited because we colored and we shifted our layers. All right. I think I'm going to move that over just a little bit so we can see a little bit of that foliage there. All right. And then this, well, even that covers up a lot. Who wants to cover up that pumpkin? What do you think of the sentiment up there with some of the foliage coming on top of it? Because if we put this over here, we're going to cover up the corn. We're going to cover up that other pumpkin. What do you think of that? So up above looks better, do you think? The banner is pretty big. All right, so I'm going to do dimensionals in the middle here because I want to keep that lift. And I'm going to double up my dimensionals because I want it to have a good lift. All right. So we're just going to put a twofer on there. And then with these little ends, I want them to say curled up a little bit. So I'm going to get some mini ones, but I'm going to use the black ones, the black minis. And I think I'm going to cut them in half. I don't even have snips out yet today. So let's cut these in half, maybe. Alrighty. Because I want those to just stay up a little bit on the edges. Okay. Concentration. All right. So tiny, I know, right? And it's not like I have petite fingers. I have gardening hands, you know? All right. So I'm going to tuck this a little bit under this foliage. I could do the banner angled too, straight or angled. I kind of like it angled. What do you think? Straight or angled? I'm not sticking it down to straight. Okay. One straight, straight, angled. So far, I only have one vote. It's going to go straight in just a second here. Big cans are great when you need a shovel and don't have one yet, right? Straight. Okay, we got 2 for straight. Let me move this down just a little bit more though. I want that foliage to lay on top. And I eyeball my stuff. I don't usually measure. All right, so there we go, our 2 and then our ends. And then look at that. Now, the only other thing we have left to do is add some of these beautiful gems. All right. So again, just like my designer series paper, I slice my packages. So I'll open up the package. I just put a metal ruler in here and I slice down the side of the package so that I can slide them out. All right. So these are the streaked dots. And we're going to put a few of these on here. Now, the sample, let me get rid of my snips. The sample shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and I kind of like how they're laid out. One of them is kind of tucked under the sentiment there. So let's just kind of play a little bit. Oh, I guess, yeah, let's put this down. And I'm going to, it looks like they used a big one here and then small ones. So we'll see. One on each side of the banner. I'm actually kind of thinking like 1, 2, or maybe tucked under here. I didn't push that down really hard. And then we'll get a bigger one for over here. We can tuck one here. Just kind of subtle that way. And then maybe a third one here, because then we've got our triangle and our triangle. All right, we're committed. There's just an itty bitty little piece here, and I think that might be from the glue dot underneath. It might just be some of the paint on there. So I'm just going to leave it alone because I don't want to ruin it. All right. So let's put this away so I don't lose those. Look at all that we used on this. You don't see the last 2, so these 2 down here. Let me see if I can zoom in again, and you might be able to see them better because they show up pretty good for me. There, is that better? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always do odd numbers. So I think we did good. The tucked one, so you don't see the tucked one and the one below the banner? Yeah, they show up good in person. They might not show up quite as well. Part of it is because there's some tree here, but there's shimmer to them, so they show up in person pretty well. All right, so we've got this, or that. I think we all agree. Coloring it, I think, made a big difference to the better. I like just 3. Oh, the first 3. Okay. Awesome. So this is not my card, it's our card because we all kind of collaborated. But card number 1 from this one sheet wonder, I'm only going to do the one tonight because it's already after 1 a.m. here. So we've been going about an hour and a half ish. So I think that's right. Yeah, hour and a half ish. So tomorrow, well, we could go, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how they were numbered with the um the sample that we had from our let me put this back out so you can see what I'm looking at here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See you next time, Sally. Have a good day. Enjoy your nap if you get one. So which card do we want to do tomorrow? Since we already did the cutting for the one sheet wonder, we might be able to do 2. This one looks like it'll go pretty quick. Maybe we should just do 2 and 3 tomorrow. All right. So that's all I've got for you tonight, ladies. Thank you for popping in. Thanks for collaborating with me. I think we did a really nice job, if I do say so myself. And until next time, thank you all for popping in. I appreciate it. Feel free to share, like, if you haven't subscribed, anybody who's watching that didn't chime in with us, feel free to chime in next time. It's an open group here. So 2 and 3. Awesome. All right. Thank you for joining us, Bonnie. It was nice to have you chatting along with us. So I hope you'll come back another time. So I will see everybody probably in about, what, 22 or 23 hours, somewhere in there. All right. Until next time, happy crafting.